Welcome to CoupleCo, working with your spouse for fun and profit. I'm Blaine Parker. Sadly, Honey Parker is not here today. She is on assignment. Now, as you may know, if you've been listening for any length of time, CoupleCo is temporarily adapting for the weirdness of our times. Our regular interviews of inspiring couples in business together are on hold. Instead, we're bringing you special pandemic editions of CoupleCo, the Mayhem Marketing Minute. Our Mayhem refrain has been to ask, what does my customer need right now, and how can my business adapt right now to serve that need? In this episode, we were surprised to be continuing that theme. We have one of our most popular guests here, Psychologist Dr. Rachna Jain. CoupleCo episode number 26, the episode where she gives couples in business together instructions on how to argue, remains one of our top 5 episodes of all time. And who wouldn't want to know how to argue, even though I already know everything I need to know. I'm always right. Ask Honey. Anyway, we got Dr. Jain on the line from her home in Maryland and asked her some questions. And one big surprise was kind of a non-surprise. Dr. Rachna Jain, thank you for doing this.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for asking me.
So we've been discussing something that probably people know, but has become all new in light of what's happening here. The fact that there are no guarantees.
Well, and this, Rachna, I'm going to jump in real quickly and drop the A-bomb, which is anxiety, because this is causing a lot of anxiety.
It absolutely is. In fact, I think anxiety is sort of the hallmark of this whole process, because there's anxiety about what's happening, but even more, there's anxiety about what people fear will happen. So it's almost like, how far does this go, or how deep is this hole that we're falling into? And I think that it's really important to realize that the anxiety that we're feeling is heightened right now. And I don't want to take away from that at all, but to also realize that there's never actually been any guarantees.
When you're speaking specifically in business?
I'm speaking in business for sure. And we could even, expand it out a little bit. There's really no guarantees in life. The issue is that people have forgotten that, or they're not remembering that as well. But, you start a business on hope and faith, essentially, and have some skills. You go out there and you meet people and you serve them and you have clients who are happy, and that keeps going. But there's plenty of times that you try for business that you don't get. There's multiple times, if you've been in business long enough, that clients end for no reason. There's kind of an uncertainty that is part of being an entrepreneur. And it might be a little bit worse now, but it's certainly no different than what we've all been living with until now to be self-employed.
It's interesting when you talk about no guarantees, and there weren't any before. Before Blaine and I had started our own business, I was a freelancer. And I remember when I was living in New York, I was having a hard time getting an apartment because the apartment managers were saying, well, there's no guarantee that you're going to be working tomorrow because you're a freelancer. And I thought, well, if I was somebody's employee, there was no guarantee. I mean, this is cheery thought, but you could get fired at any time, yet you move forward.
And that's the thing, that I think that the time for kind of that paralysis is ending. I mean, I think none of us can live paralyzed for very long. And so what, my hope is from this conversation is that people can kind of stop looking at what's been lost or what they fear will be lost, and start actually harnessing all of their entrepreneurial creativity and energy and doing their best to look forward at what's next for them.
All right, I'm going to throw you a curveball here. How would we couch this in the context of marketing? Since this is the Mayhem Marketing Minute, what would you say to an entrepreneur who's trying to figure out how to reach his customer?
Or her.
Yeah, absolutely. Or her. Absolutely. So, so I think that marketing right now is going to require a couple of things. The first is a greater sensitivity. And so what I mean by that is obviously an awareness that everyone is under stress. This may not be the time to launch splashy new initiatives unless you can really pinpoint in and target in things that people really specifically need or want. Like, for example, I have a great many clients who are psychologists themselves. And so they've been really busy this past few weeks reinventing themselves using telehealth. And so right now they're not seeing benefits from that because many people are sort of in that fear or that paralysis mode. But the longer that this pandemic goes on and the longer the uncertainty goes on, there will be a point where things tip over and people start seeking mental health services. And so all of my psychologist clients who have been ready for telehealth, they're going to be the ones who are able to take those clients right away. And because of the nature of telehealth, they'll be free from some of the typical quote unquote restrictions of practicing in your particular locality. So
I got a question. Telehealth is remote counseling via what?
Oh, sure. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm just using the jargon. Yes. Telehealth is meeting people by phone or conference or video call and providing therapy or other psychological services remotely. So my point, though, in bringing that up is that you have the need to reinvent yourself. So your marketing needs to reflect that. And I think this is not the time to pull back on marketing. I think it's the time to make your marketing more sensitive, perhaps more targeted, perhaps more aware. But it's not the time to stop marketing and say, this is it. It's over.
Okay. I just want to point out that we have not discussed this at all, have we?
We have not.
Yes. Okay. We have been repeatedly talking to people after saying that this is not the time to stop marketing and this is the time to market in the moment and speak to your customer where your customer is. And universally, anyone we've spoken to has echoed exactly that thought. Thank you for doing that. Great minds.
Great minds.
Right, honey?
Either that or we're all wrong together. But we're not wrong. This has been proven.
All right. So in the area of no guarantees, Rachna, would you have one action item for people to take away from this?
Sure. So I think the first thing is a mindset. The mindset is to realize that all you can ever control is your effort. And so as an entrepreneur, you never can guarantee that you give the perfect pitch and that client signs up. You can't guarantee that because you sign that big contract, that client's going to stay. So all you can ever do is manage your effort. And so the key here for the entrepreneurs is to make a concerted effort to stay in touch with the clients that they have, to ask them if those clients have any needs that can be addressed or serviced, to look at their history in business and see what kinds of things people are always going to need. One opportunity that I've seen, for example, is that people are considering starting small side businesses, or they have hobbies or talents that they're able to turn into some income generation. And they have a lot of questions about how do I put up a web page or how do I get people to know about my services? These are smaller contracts. They're going to be smaller bits of work, but they are avenues that marketers could step into, digital marketers or people who offer online services, and be able to step in and say, hey, if you're looking to get your side hustle up online, I have the capacity to build for you a one-page website or a two-page website, just so at least people can come to know what you're selling.
So your double action item is maintain your mindset and look at new ways to serve your customer during the weirdness. Now, if you have any questions for us, you can reach out to CoupleCo on Facebook at CoupleCo Podcast or send an email to coupleup@coupleco.com. And we'll see you on the next Mayhem Marketing Minute from CoupleCo, working with your spouse for fun and profit. CoupleCo is a production of Slow Burn Marketing, LLC, copyright 2020, all rights reserved. CoupleCo out.